Technical tips from my boyfriend. To use Oculus as an input device for real-time camera tracking in a virtual environment using Unreal. Start with getting your account set up in Oculus and in Steam. Unreal tracks virtual positioning using Steam VR, and we need Unreal, Steam VR, and Oculus to speak to each other in more or less the right order. Turn on Oculus. Connect your Oculus to your computer, either by Wi-Fi or by a high-speed USB cable. Ensure that the Oculus Live Link application has a handshake between the headset and your computer. You may have to log into Oculus if the handshake did not occur automatically. Now engage Steam VR. If you start Steam VR first, Steam VR may not be aware of the Oculus handshake. In that case, simply restart Steam VR with the Reset Headset link. Now that the computer connection is set up, we need to turn on the Live Link application in Oculus. After that, we need to turn on the Steam VR application in Oculus. The application should be talking to each other and producing data that can be read by Unreal. Now run Unreal. If you don't like using the Unreal Internet interface, you can boot an existing Unreal project by navigating to the project directly. Once inside Unreal, you will be enabling a module that feeds the Oculus and Steam VR data into a virtual camera. For the module to work, you need to ensure that the virtual camera plugins are enabled. Go to your Unreal settings and enable the following plugins: Live Link, Live Link XR, and possibly Live Link Camera, depending on your Unreal version. There are additional plugins that are needed for reading VR data. Previously, these plugins were in Oculus VR and Steam VR, and you can enable these for earlier Unreal versions. But these last two plugins have been replaced with one OpenXR plugin. Once the plugins are enabled, you can access the VR data through a Live Link panel. You can find the Live Link panel through the Windows menu option, then Virtual Production, and then Live Link. Let's tell Unreal to read data from Oculus. We will need to add the Oculus feeds. Click plus source, enable all three boxes with check marks, and to smooth out hand jitter, you can reduce the data frequency rate to 30. Now Unreal is reading data. You can tell by the green traffic lights. If they are not active, simply delete the Oculus parameter and add them in again. You should not close the Live Link panel or else the VR data will stop being read. Simply dock the Live Link panel. Let's feed the data to a virtual camera. There is a special camera in Unreal that has all the attributes of a normal cinematic camera, but also has an additional component for accepting VR data. That camera is the VCam camera. Click plus Actor, then Cinematics, then Virtual Production, and VCam camera. There are 4 separate detail panels for this camera, one panel for each component. The default camera settings are at the top component level. But to access the virtual reality data component, you need to ensure that you click and enable the 4th component, VCam. It might be hidden behind other panels, so scroll or expand your view. When the VCam component is clicked, click on the Enable box to turn the virtual camera component on. Scroll to find where you can tell the camera which data feed to read. You can choose which controller, left or right, for the camera to read. When you do this, the virtual camera will move in 3D space based on how you move the Oculus controller. You might have to use trial and error to figure out if you're using right or left. Your camera should be actively moving with your Oculus controller. The final step is to calibrate the position of your virtual camera to match your real-world position of the Oculus controller. Place your controller to a position in the real world where you'd like to operate your camera. You could attach the Oculus controller to a real camera or Steadicam and place the controller in a tripod position or table. Now disable the Unreal virtual camera by clicking the Enable box into an off state. To position your virtual camera, make sure that you have selected the virtual camera in your perspective workspace. Now, use the Unreal keyboard and mouse combination to move the virtual camera in the virtual Unreal environment to where you want your camera to start. Once positioned, enable the virtual camera again by placing a check mark in the Enabled box. Your Oculus controller now moves the camera in the correctly calibrated location in Unreal as you wanted. If you want to change the position of the camera again, turn off the Enable box. Remember to select the virtual camera in your perspective workspace again. Reposition your virtual camera using the keyboard and mouse combination. Then click Enable. Your controller now moves the camera in a new orientation and location from within the Unreal Engine environment. Ooh, yeah, that was easy. This provides an amazing way to build a virtual production pipeline for independent filmmakers in an affordable way.